During this phase, what I like to do is ask lots of critical questions about, how we're going to go about solving this problem, and also brainstorm lots of different ideas. The first major question is, what do people want, or what do they need? And for this, I looked at a few very basic things in this project. And the easiest way to discover it is just to talk to people. So I was looking at people that were in this situation and basically asked that question. What I found was the major concerns were this. People wanted to get into their home quickly, first and foremost. The next thing was that they were concerned about the cost of the home, and then also they wanted to know or make sure that the home met their basic needs. The next thing I took a look at was what solutions have been tried. Now for me, this is a huge part of researching in order to get a really good solution to a problem. What you can see up here is lots of different things that I tried. Mostly search terms. The first place I'm going to go is the internet because it's the easiest. And I'm going to look at all the different possible designs that have come before me. The next thing I'm going to look at is what solutions have been tried. For me, this is a very important step in the process. You can see up here what I've done is basically list lots of different search terms that I did. And some of these search terms I just kind of started by looking at one major disaster. Now for us, I looked at Hurricane Katrina. Of course, for my design, we don't have hurricanes in Wisconsin, but that was such a powerful and devastating natural disaster. And I think a lot of the problems that came from that disaster end up being some of the same problems that you have regardless of what the disaster is. And to me, it was just a great place to start and look at, what did people do to try to solve that problem and what could we do better? So I started with that. And from there, my search just continued to grow. And I actually write down and document all the search terms that I'm using as we move forward, just so I can make sure I can go back, grow, add, and make this huge network of different search terms and things to look at. So what you can see up here is, some of the things that I did. Like I said, I started with Hurricane Katrina and what those homes have done. I searched emergency shelters, disaster relief, survival shelters, sustainable design, green architecture, prefabricated houses, sandbag homes, shipping container houses, modular design, travel trailers, monolithic domes, and that was the basics of what I looked at. And as I'm writing these things down, I'm looking, I'm printing, I'm putting all this stuff together and coming up with some ideas that I can use to build a design of my own. The next thing I looked at was what technologies or materials could help with this design. For me, I started with thinking about what would be some local materials that you had. If you don't have to bring in materials, I thought it might be a little bit easier to actually build this design, especially in a disaster situation. I then thought about how about using some recycled products. What types of energy efficient insulation are out there? Solar panels, green building products, maybe looking at active and passive solar energy, as well as if there's any alternatives to wood. Lots and lots of different new materials have come on the market as green architecture has started to become a little bit more mainstream recently, and I'm trying to look at all the different possible ways I could utilize those materials and put it into a solution for this home. The last question that I wanted to address was what don't I know, or what challenges do I foresee? Now depending on your level of experience or your background, this could vary from person to person. For me, what I found is that I was doing research, I was coming up with all sorts of things that I didn't really know the answer to that could impact my design. So I definitely try to write those down every time as they come across because I want to make sure I come up with a solution to those before the end of the project. A few things that might impact my design were, will the area be accessible by truck? I also wanted to know, how long does a typical home take to build? Because we want to make sure that this process is much faster than that. What is the median home price in my area? What climates will this need to perform in? Is this disaster a one-time deal, or is it something that might happen again? Because if it's something that's going to happen again, obviously it's going to affect how we design this home to make sure it can withstand those same circumstances if it were to happen. And then finally, I wanted to know what is the maximum weight and capacity of a semi-truck. As I was thinking about different designs and kind of working this through, I was definitely considering figuring out how it might go or be delivered on a semi-truck. And that is something I need to know because it could certainly limit my design in the future.